welcome back to the Jet Press Podcast. My name is Justin Freed, and I'm joined, as always, by my good friend Mike Luciano. Mike, I'm feeling good, man. I'm feeling really good. We didn't get to talk about this before the show, but I'm feeling really, really good because for the first time this century, the New York Knicks are headed back to the NBA Finals, and I think the Knicks maybe provide us with some semblance of hope moving forward, that this long-suffering, poorly run, stupid football team that we watch and we cover and we love, sometimes love, the New York Jets, can maybe claw their way out of the NFL's basement and reach, I don't want to say the mountaintop yet because the Knicks aren't there yet, but get back to close to the mountaintop. But anyway, I'm feeling good.
Or you could be the Nets and just get worse. That could always happen.
That's also possible. Or I could just be riding a Knicks high right now and I'm just delusional and the Jets are forever going to be that bad. It totally could be right.
They're now second in the New York regional area conference NBA Finals appearances since the millennium started. Rankings.
There you go. What a ranking. I'm sorry.
The Nets had two.
But at least you have Ben Suraf, so it's okay. But how you feeling, buddy? What's going on?
Well, we have Traore, who's actually good. So, and he was one of the Bridges picks. So.
Good is relative, but yeah, that's okay.
He is good, and Suraf is not. That all of his points were Mickey Mouse in the end of the year when they were losing on purpose to tank it, and they bad luck ruined the friend. Like that's just I don't know. That's just bad luck.
Yeah, sure. But how you feeling? On top
of the Jets, I'm actually feeling pretty good. We got another wide receiver Wednesday.
Dude, it's unbelievable.
Like we started as a joke. It is frightening how often this happens.
I was cranking the numbers. That's definitely not the phrase. Crunching the numbers. Cranking the numbers is not bad.
3 minutes we've been live.
I was looking back a couple of weeks ago when the Jets signed Tim Patrick, and I was like, what are the other ones? So the Jets signed Tim Patrick on a Wednesday. They have traded for Mecole Hardman on a Wednesday. Corey Davis retired on a Wednesday. Denzel Mims was traded, and Elijah Moore was traded. All of those happened on a Wednesday, and now including the Jets trading Irv Charles, which I think technically qualifies as a wide receiver trade. It's not really one, but we'll call it.
Nominally it is. We'll get into that. We'll get into kind of just the wide receiver room as a whole. And then we have a very, very special guest.
Absolutely.
Will Parkinson will be joining us for the second half of this show. I'm sure you guys, he needs no introduction for the Jets fans who are online to any degree. He will be on. So thank you for tuning in for that. You know where to find us, Apple, Google, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. We are there. If you want to support the show, we got the membership program. You can like the stream. You can subscribe. Those things all really help. It's just a couple button presses, and two of them are free. Only one of them you got to pay for. So if you want to do it for free, that's how you support the show. We're not going to talk about Irv Charles long.
Before we get into Irv Charles, we got Mr. Mule in chat saying, happy to be here live. I see the disappointment on your face. You just don't want me to talk about the Knicks anymore, Mike. I get it. But he says, congrats on the Knicks, Justin. Spurs in 7. If you're talking about the Western Conference Finals, I hope so. I hope the Spurs win in 7. If you're talking about the NBA Finals, well, they got to get there first. They got to get on the next level, man. They're not there yet.
Let's go talk about Irv Charles very exceedingly briefly. We're gonna go talk about the receiver room as a whole, mostly.
League-shattering news. This
was gonna be a nothing of a thing to the point where I almost didn't even want to talk about it on the show because it's a special teamer. If he makes the team, it's only gonna be for special teams reasons. And then he posts his farewell post to the Jets, and it was very eloquent. So he goes on Instagram and he makes an Instagram story post, not even a real post, like not even a full one, just a story, and it says, quote, out of there. Okay. Well, screw you too, then, if that's how you feel. It's one of those things. Like, it's that classic Jets thing where, like, we rip this team all up and down. And, of course, he's going to Seattle Seahawks, who just won the championship, so he'd be happy about that, even though he's a fringe NFL player. But it's that thing of we rip all these guys and these players and all that, and then somebody wants to leave, and it's like, oh, what? We're no good for you? What's wrong with us? That's kind of how I feel.
Well, I could tell you, I could list a few things that's wrong with the Jets, Mike. If you need me to list, I could rattle them off.
So the thing, though, too, I've noticed, like that post,
it bugs you.
Why are all the solid guys? Every solid guy is like that. Jermaine kind of he was moping a little bit, but like that's like I'll excuse it in the 3 and 14, like Sauce and Quincy and all these guys. Irv Charles now too. The only guys that don't mope like that right now, I think, are Sherwood and Brees, and they just got paid huge contract extensions. So why would they mope?
Yeah, I honestly, I saw the post. my immediate thought when I saw what he said before I saw any commentary on it, I was like, all right, he's happy to be out. I don't blame him. He's happy to be out of Florham Park, whatever. He's out of here. It's not like he was like, man, fuck the Jets. Like he was just like, I'm out of here. I also think it's May 27th and we have nothing to talk about. So people are like, oh, well, fuck you too then. Like people are up in arms about it because there's nothing else going on.
Well, I think because it's Irv Charles too, and it's not like
for sure. It was like the gall of random wide receiver 12 on the depth chart to say something like this. I get it. I don't think it was that significant. I don't really care too much. I do find it very funny that like Irv Charles is the guy who was traded. Like and I said this on Twitter, if you gave me 80 guesses, and I don't mean this as a hyperbole, when I woke up this morning and you said you have 80 guesses, take a guess which player in the Jets 90-man roster is getting traded today. I'm not confident I would have gotten to Irv Charles. There's around 70 other players I might have said first. And like I would have been saying UDFAs. I would have been saying other guys. I'd have been like Thomas Hennessy. I would have said they're probably more likely to trade Olufashinu. Like, I don't know. Irv Charles. Most Jets fans probably forgot he was on the team because he didn't play it all last year. This is a guy who is 29 years old, has played 53 career offensive snaps. He's only played 25 games at age 29. He's wide receiver like 11 on the depth chart, legitimately right now. Had virtually no chance to make the 53-man roster. Genuinely stunning that he was traded. And I would say that he goes up now in the annals of Jets history as far as probably the most obscure player that the Jets were able to trade. I would say he probably surpasses Daniel Brown, who was traded for Laurent Duvernay-Tardif, if you remember that.
He
was traded to the Chiefs, and then 2 weeks later was cut by the Chiefs and re-signed by the Jets. And I would also say Jordan Willis, if you remember Jordan Willis.
Kansas State.
Yeah, backup edge rusher who played 9 games. I forgot he had played 9 games with the Jets. I looked it up and I was like, I had forgotten he played that many games with the team, but he was traded in like a swap of 6th and 7th round picks. I would say he probably surpasses both of them, unless you want to go all the way back to 2017, Mike, where I talked about this trade literally last night, I think when I was on Connor Long's show. So it's wild that I'm bringing this up now 2 days in a row. When the Jets traded backup safety Ronald Martin to the Colts for long snapper Thomas Hennessy. I would say that it's up in that category of like one of the most obscure, not to disparage Irv Charles here, but irrelevant players that I've ever seen the Jets trade. I guess credit to Darren Muji for maybe possibly getting some sort of potential value.
Probably if he makes the roster, which he won't.
I mean, he might. I don't know if they look like, man, you weren't there for prime Irv Charles, man. All right.
He called him a wolf.
I was going to say this, man. Robert Saleh called a wolf, like Justin Hardy.
What a weird quote looking back on it. Like, what a weird descriptor.
I guess. I can see where he's going with that, though. But, like, Justin Hardy gets hurt. Hardy was a Pro Bowl special teamer, gunner with the Jets, and he gets hurt, and Charles steps in, and the Jets really don't miss a beat, and Charles was doing some really good stuff, and then unfortunately tore his ACL, and he ends up missing all of last year. But, I guess credit to Muji for maybe I think a 2028 conditional 7th is actually the lowest value pick you could possibly trade right now. So, it's something. Maybe they get maybe they get the next Brock Purdy, Mike. We don't know.
That would be... Man, have they been due for one of those?
That's the first line in the documentary is it's if that pick turns into Brock Purdy or a franchise quarterback, the first scene in the documentary is Irv Charles like tearing his ACL, and it's like this led to the Jets getting their franchise quarterback.
So looking at the receiver room as a whole, this is just me. Like I found that the Jets, they may be the easiest 53-man roster to predict in the league right now because so many of their backups are like edge rush, you're going to get. You're not going to cut Kingsley Enagbare right now. Like, there's so many, like, depth guys on one-year deals with some money that it's, like, the cornerback room especially. Like, maybe there might be one guy, but, like, 85% of that is set. The offensive line is 90% set. And I think the receiver room might be set. If they carry 6 wide receivers, I think the receiver room is perfectly fixed right now in terms of who's making the roster because you have Garrett Wilson. Shocker, Garrett Wilson's going to be on the 53-man roster, guys. Breaking news. You heard it here first.
Wow. Sources? Are sources telling you this?
Sources, I made it up. Or have an IQ above 50. Garrett Wilson's going to be on the roster, obviously. Then you get Omar Cooper, Adonai Mitchell. Those are your 2 and your 3 in whatever order that shakes out. You got Isaiah Williams. You got Tim Patrick. And you got Arian Smith. And that's your 6. I don't want to say mildly surprising because it would be surprising if they gave up on a high 4th-round pick after a year, especially a year with Justin Fields and everything that happened there. But I thought Arian Smith was going to be on a little bit of a roster bubble. I think he makes it, unless they bring somebody else in, which I don't think they do. I think Tim Patrick was their external addition. I think that's your 6. It's 5 receivers, and Isaiah Williams is your returner, and then there you go.
Yeah. First of all, good shout here from Brian. He said the Perry Nickerson trade again. I totally forgot that the Jets actually got value for Perry Nickerson, which, by the way, fun fact, I'm Facebook friends with Perry Nickerson. Don't know how that happened, but it's
Remember David Clowney? I was Facebook friends with him.
That's also weird. I think I'm also Facebook friends with Kenrick Ellis. Again, don't know why.
Guess the Jet legend.
Yes, guess the Jet legend. You forgot.
I did, yes.
Also, really quick, Brian, I don't get this joke. You're right. He said, I got to be honest, I haven't forgiven Will for what he did to that kangaroo. Do you understand this, Mike?
No, and let's just leave it up in the air. So make your own ending to that joke.
I Googled Will Parkinson kangaroo because I was like, am I missing something? And apparently it's like something that is designed for people with Parkinson's disease. And I don't think that's what he's referring to. At least I'm assuming it's not. But yeah, I'm with you that this wide receiver room, it feels like there's a very clear-cut top 6 in this room. It's Garrett Wilson, Adonai Mitchell, Omar Cooper are your top 3. They bring in Tim Patrick to be your veteran wide receiver 4. I forget if we've talked about this on the show, but I know I mentioned it on Twitter. I would be curious. I think there's a world where Tim Patrick is not active on game days. And I think that world is you feel good about your 3 wide receivers. You're probably not going to run a lot of 4 wide receiver sets at all because you have Kenyon Sadiq and Mason Taylor, and then you have Breece Hall. You got to get targets too. And Isaiah Williams and Arian Smith both earn a role on special teams. Obviously, we know what Williams' role is going to be. If the Jets like Smith as one of their top gunners, then yeah, he's probably going to be active on game days. Tim Patrick does not play special teams at all. Like, he just does not. So that is something to consider when you're looking at like a 4th or 5th wide receiver on your team is, are they going to be active? Because, can they actually contribute on special teams? But I would assume that's going to be their top 6 there. Smith's the one guy who I think is probably on the roster bubble. Sorry, my cat is like heaving next to me. Are you good, buddy? I don't know if you hear that.
We got sick
I don't know if you hear that
on the stream.
Do you hear that? Is that picking it up?
No.
Oh my God. All right. Well, he's coughing. He's got a coughing fit.
I got a hairball coming.
I don't know. Hope he doesn't throw up. Anyway, as I'm on distracting me, I hope you're okay, Munch. Arian Smith is the one guy who I think is like on the roster bubble. Actually, I think Isaiah Williams clearly has a role as your kick returner, and Patrick, I think like half his contract is guaranteed, so he's not going anywhere. If anybody's going to get beaten out, it's going to be one of the UDFAs or a Quentin Skinner type. Really shows progress in year 2, and they show more than Arian Smith, and the Jet staff doesn't love Smith as a special teams guy, and then there you go. Then Quentin Skinner or Malik McClain.
They've pretty much already given up on him being like a long-term receiver part of this offense.
Yeah, I believe he had the fewest yards per route run of any rookie receiver since at least 2015 last year. And, obviously
part of that not his fault. But
yeah, obviously quarterback play sucked and all this stuff, but the dude ran like 300. He was on the field for like 350 snaps on offense, and he had 7 catches for 52 yards. And I think, I don't have the numbers in front of me, I would say more than half of those were probably designed little like screen passes to him. He just was not. He was
drags,
just not
hitches.
And when he was targeted, it was like, I think he was like 0 for 5 in contested catch opportunities. Like, it was just, he did not look like an NFL wide receiver. I don't think.
Well, part of it too is you draft Arian Smith, and it's always this deep burner with great speed, and then you can't throw downfield because you have Justin Fields. So
in theory, Geno Smith will help a lot with that because that's Geno's strength. Even when he was not good last year at the Raiders, his best thing was probably still his deep ball. Like, he could still sling it, but I don't know, man. I was not an Arian Smith fan at the time. I don't think he's an NFL wide receiver. We'll see. He can still stick around on special teams, though.
I will say, though, looking back, because I know some people originally, I don't want to say skeptical because they're all talented players, but picking Sadiq and Cooper together, they're like, I don't know how you're going to fit it out. And I'm like, oh, okay, thank you. For years, we haven't had anybody. Now we're like, oh, there's only one ball. We're doing that.
Right.
When was the last time the Jets entered a year with this good a wide receiver room? Marshall Decker?
Very long. Probably a very long time. And it's I would call
even then Marshall Decker had like who's wide receiver 3 in those years?
I would say that the ceiling for the room is obviously very high. The floor is lower than we're probably admitting right now because Adonai Mitchell is certainly not a locked in, like definite wide receiver 2 caliber player by any means at this stage. You're hoping he can be. And I honestly, I have an article coming out about this. I think that him and Geno are like a perfect match. They are a match made in heaven because Geno's best trade again is his deep ball. Like, he was one of the best, maybe the best deep ball passer in the NFL from 2022 to 2024. I believe PFF had him graded as the best deep ball passer in the NFL from 2022 to 2024. And even last year, that was probably the best trait of his game still. So pairing him with Adonai Mitchell, I think that's a match made in football heaven. But we don't know what he is. And we also don't know what Omar Cooper Jr. is yet. So I think the ceiling is very high. We'll see what they actually are going to end up being, though.
I'm still curious, too, about Cooper. Because I've wrote an article about this. I even mentioned it right after they drafted him.
Mm-hmm.
If he can play outside, this just changes everything for this receiver room and this offense.
Oh, yeah.
Now, I just don't know if I think it might be they're going to probably start him in the slot and then either by necessity because Adonai Mitchell is struggling or because they're committed to him developmental-wise, whereas Adonai, not to be harsh, but he was kind of a throw-in for the Sauce trade. More than a throw-in, less than a we got to have him guy.
Yes, agreed.
For the Sauce trade. So either if he struggles or they're just more committed to Cooper, I think they're going to slowly start gradually giving him more snaps on the outside. I do think I am concerned about, not to make this a tight end thing too, but him and Sadiq playing and Mason Taylor all working together long-term if he's just in the slot. Because then one of them's got to go. And it's not going to be Cooper, I don't think, and it's not going to be Sadiq because of their investment. It's probably going to be Mason Taylor. And I don't want that to happen because I think Mason Taylor is pretty good, and I think he's going to have a pretty good year too. Maybe he can catch his first NFL touchdown from a quarterback this year because the only one he caught was on that Brees reverse touchdown pass. I'm curious to see. I don't think early in the year we're going to get an answer to that, but I think by like week 9 or 10, if he's not playing outside a good amount, I think there's a little bit of cause for concern in terms of how they're going to make all these pieces kind of work together.
Yeah, I think that's fair. And again, that's a good problem to have if you're the Jets. Like, when's the last time we looked at the Jets and we're like, oh, they just have too many mouths to feed. They have too many young skill possession players that they're trying to develop. Like, it's a weird concept.
Am I Jets fanning out for getting excited about this like non-Geno, non-Frank Reich offense? Like, am I like?
No, it's the foundation is there, but as it's always the case with the Jets, it needs to get put together by a competent play caller and a competent quarterback. And those are two extreme variables that we don't really have an answer to right now.
They had one of them, and then he got fired for Nathaniel Hackett.
Yeah, I thought you were going to say Engstrom because I don't like. I think LaFleur was
Mike LaFleur laps Tanner Engstrom.
Yeah, I agree with that, but I think there was enough. Like, we don't got to go back to that, but I would not have been upset at all if they kept Tanner Engstrom and kept him for another year. But given what they were looking for, I understand why they went with the Reich approach. But yeah,
Reich stuff.
The Reich stuff. Yes. I'm very interested to see how this Jets skill position group shakes out this year. I forget if I've said this on air too, but my prediction right now is Omar Cooper Jr. finishes as the Jets' second leading receiver this year behind Garrett Wilson. That's gonna be my prediction. I think Adonai Mitchell is gonna be more of your big play, deep threat guy who maybe he leads the team in touchdowns, but I don't think he's going to be your second leading receiver in terms of like catches and yards. I think that's going to be Omar Cooper. I think Sadiq and Mason Taylor will just eat into each other's production more than, enough to make it so that Cooper finishes with more. Brees is the sneaky one, but Brees is his receiving production has gone down every year. So I really don't know exactly how much they're going to get him emphasize getting him involved in the passing game. You'd like to see it a lot more than we did last year. I think he only had like 30-something catches and like 40-something targets. It was not good.
But you think with Fields being unplayable, you'd think that'd be a very easy, just dump it off to Brees for 5-6 times a game.
You would think. But yeah.
You're not mad. Was that too tough for Justin Fields?
Apparently so. Apparently it was.
Brian Sternbeck, Enuma would have been wide receiver 3 back then. Oh, yeah,
that was great, man.
Those were the days, man.
Dude, if only I was there for the Enunwa neck injury at the green and white scrimmage. I was there for that, and I was like,
"Oh no!"
It was bizarre because it was a complete like fluke thing that like there wasn't even like a hefty collision. It just kind of happened, and everyone was like, "What the hell is going on?"
He never played again after that, right?
I think he came back and barely played, and then I think that was it. If I remember correctly, I think he briefly came back.
They were scared to death to have to go over the middle.
I have my second laptop pulled up. I told you this, Mike, but I have my second laptop pulled up to Google stuff because my laptop doesn't like when I go to other tabs. He came back, played one game in 2019, and then that was it. He caught one pass for -4 yards.
Oh, man.
Yeah, very unfortunate.
That's a shame.
Let's talk about OTAs, Mike.
Let's talk about OTAs.
They start today, and the media starts going there tomorrow. So we'll see some quotes and some quarterback stats. You know, the completions.
We're getting some charts going.
Yes, I'm sure NYJ Matt will have a fully 100% accurate charting of Cade Klubnik's stats at OTAs.
Still haven't signed anybody yet. It's this team. If you gave them a truth serum, I think they really, really badly want Cade Klubnik to be QB2 to start the year.
Yes.
And I think what's going to happen is they're going to put, I don't want to say his NFL career on the line or like that, but they are going to give him every opportunity to lose it. I think they're telling you right now, you've got it until you lose it. And then if you struggle in camp, then we'll go look at a veteran guy. But they want him to be QB2, which I guess it's a bold risk, but it's certainly not as objectionable as keeping Zach as the backup during the Rodgers year, because that was
different expectations.
If 8 goes down, we're fucked, and we don't practice that. And then he went down immediately, and then look what happened. This is, I don't want to say it's like house money, but like if God forbid if something happened with Geno, like obviously it would not be good for Aaron Glenn and Frank Reich and the current coaching staff, but long term, you can at least say, all right, we're going to play this out and we're going to see with live bullets kind of what this kid's got. And then we can see if he's we always said the bar is Aiden O'Connell for him. That's what we want. Like we can see if he's an Aiden O'Connell, a guy who throughout his career, if you need him to play for a month, can you win game? Can you go 2-2? Mm-hmm. And I think if he shows enough that I think he has that in him. I just don't think he has the arm to be a franchise guy, just talent wise, but
right.
They're going to go and give him every opportunity to prove it, which I kind of like, even in a year that is kind of desperate with the whole everybody's going to get fired if they're abysmal again. I kind of like that approach with Klubnik.
Well, listen, if he's not in O'Connell, then you get a top 5 pick and everything's all right, and you're still happy. I know
the Jets have never messed up a top 5 quarterback pick.
Never, ever, never, Mike.
I was watching NFL Stock Exchange, and they were doing the best pick and worst pick of every draft in the last 10 years.
It's so funny you mentioned this, Mike. I was going to mention this to you. I was also recently watching that, and I saw you commented, and I saw they brought your comment on screen. I was going to mention it to you.
And I'm mixed on that because one of them had Lance and one of them had Wilson. Zach.
Yeah.
And I think Sikkim had a good quote because, again, the process was worse with Lance, but the tsunami of what happened, the fallout of Zach Wilson was worse.
It's a fun exercise. We should consider doing that for like Jets drafts, like looking back at the last 10 drafts or whatever and looking at the best of the worst pick. Fun thought.
Fun.
Yeah. As we just learned by doing the Joe Douglas draft retrospective last week. Very fun. But yeah, clearly the Jets want Cade Klubnik to be QB2. Like, I think that is abundantly clear at this point. They are going to revisit the veteran quarterback market after OTAs, which, if there's one thing that like OTAs, ultimately, not a lot matters with OTAs. I want to talk to Will about this when we bring him on, as to asking him basically, what do you look for, right? Like what actually matters here? What are the storylines that actually are important? One thing obviously is staying healthy. Like you want everyone to stay healthy. You don't want a Chuck Clark situation where he comes in and he tears ACL. I believe that was minicamp that he tore his ACL.
The whole point they got him was he never gets hurt, and he got hurt immediately.
The Giants have had 2 players tear their Achilles already in OTAs. You don't want that.
Really?
Roy Robertson Harris, and then another UDFA.
I heard about him. Who's the other one?
Another a UDFA guy they signed.
Oh no.
Yeah, it's the worst, dude. It sucks. It was a decently notable. I forget who it was, but it was probably one of their better UDFAs too. Like
that's it for him.
Yeah, it's very, very unfortunate. The last thing you want if you're the Jets is any kind of injuries like that. So number 1 priority is staying healthy. Number 2, you want to see how these rookies, how these young players look against actual veterans, because there was all this hype about Cade Klubnik at rookie minicamp, and some of that was the aura points and him looking like Chad Pennington, and the fans just being really attached to any quarterback the Jets draft. But some of it was, it seems like he had a good showing, and the Jets were pleased with how he looked in rookie minicamp. I think if he kind of shit the bed and looked like he was awful at rookie minicamp, which that's a major red flag. If you're throwing against tryout players, like guys who will literally never even sniff an NFL contract, and you look bad, I think that would have been like an immediate alarm red flag for the Jets. And they would have been like, all right, Russ, what do you need? What do you need? Right. Yeah. It's like a Russell Wilson. Like, what do you need to stay here or to stay in New York? And
Hackenberg was so funny because like that was before you get all these clips posted online. And so you just hear these apocryphal tales of, and you had to kind of discern what was real. Like the 2 I remember always are
when he hit a guy on the sideline.
What?
When he hit a guy on a sideline.
That was one. And then there was another one of like, he was doing like under center Kane stuff, and a guy was like barking at barking at him, and he got scared and fumbled the ball and stuff.
Who was barking? Who would have been barking back then?
I don't
That
know.
was 2016, right?
I believe. Do you believe that happened? I believe that happened.
Was that 2016 he was drafted? Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the Darren Lee Hackenberg.
That feels like a Sheldon Richardson thing. That totally sounds like a Sheldon Richardson.
Was Wilkerson still there? Maybe.
I think Wilkerson didn't have it in on the bark. He wouldn't even. I don't know. Sheldon Richardson, I could see doing that. Or Snacks
would have been the target of some of my Mekhi Becton jokes, but he was a very productive, very good player for a while. So he was a pro. He was a pro player. After he got paid, fair game, but
then he Albert Hainsworth himself. But
he did Albert Hainsworth, not as Albert Hainsworth that other stuff too, but
for sure. But no, back to Klubnik and the Jets. Like they clearly want Klubnik to be QB2, so they're going to go into OTAs and they're going to give Klubnik, Zappy, and Brady Cook, but it's really about Klubnik. They're going to go in OTAs and say, let's see what our quarterback room looks like, and let's regroup and discuss this QB room after the spring and after the summer. So like after rookie minicamp or after mandatory minicamp, after OTAs, let's discuss this in late June and see where we're at. See what we think about this quarterback room. Do we think we have an NFL caliber QB2 on this roster with Klubnik or Zappy or Cook? Again, I add the other names in there because I think they're going to be given a chance. Really, it's about Klubnik. And a lot of times with young quarterbacks, you can tell right away, like you mentioned Hackenberg, the Jets knew really quickly that they fucked up with Hackenberg. Like there was not even maybe we can continue to develop and he's going to be this.
Zuniga had that too, where
edge
rusher gets right in. Ja'Kai Polite for other reasons.
But you bring him in camp and immediately they just look so overwhelmed and they don't look like they belong. With Klubnik, all you want is for him to look like he belongs. You don't need him to look like he's Patrick Mahomes. You don't need him
even
to
if he struggles, command the offense, show the offense. That alone.
Correct. You want him to look like he's an NFL quarterback. And if he looks good enough, I think there's a chance they go into training camp and these are your three quarterbacks. And then they let them compete in training camp. They let them compete in the preseason. And if they feel the need to add a quarterback after that, they can revisit it. I don't think the Jets want to sign Cooper Rush or Josh Dobbs. And I think they're, exploring the Russell Wilson market because he's obviously the best name available. But if it's up to Aaron Glenn, he probably would prefer not to have the extra, whatever. They'd probably have to pay him like $6 million, $7 million, whatever, right, to get him in here. On top of all the, this is not Russ's fault, but all the baggage associated with a high-profile quarterback like that.
Supposedly, Connor Hughes. I defended Russ for a while. Connor Hughes said a lot of the stuff you heard about him was true. Kind of phony, not great. I'm like, it can't all be that bad. This guy's the next to grind. And Connor Hughes was like, no, it's what people said was true. I'm like, at
a bare minimum, he's clearly somebody that isn't the most universally liked guy and is going to ruffle some feathers, for whatever reason. He just
doesn't seem like maybe he's good at splitting the personalities. Does he seem like a feather ruffling guy to you?
I think he's just got a grating personality that could probably turn some people off.
I've heard someone describe it as a coworker personality, and I'm like, I could
maybe instead of a teammate personality, maybe.
I guess, yeah.
I guess
favorite food is Chipotle, their favorite artist is Taylor Swift, stuff like that, where it's all the most generic answers.
Yes, just generic, fake, super, super basic. Yeah, I can see that. I don't know. He also it's tough. It's tough for a guy like Russ, who's he's a huge celebrity. It's not even just the football stuff. He's married to I don't want to say Sierra's A-list, but a B-list celebrity, a very famous singer, person who's in the spotlight all the time. And as a result of that, Russ and her are a Hollywood, star-like couple, right? An A-list
they live in New York now for non-football reasons.
So it's hard when you're that, and it's now try to relate to Brady Cook. It's just, you're just living two different lives. So it's just, I don't know. But I imagine that is some of the cause of friction.
The old Simpsons meme where Brady Cook is Milhouse's dad, and he's like, I sleep in a race car bed. What about you? And then Russ goes, I sleep in a big bed with my wife.
Right. with my
model singer,
my Grammy award winning. I don't know if she won a Grammy, but she should have won 2 steps of banger. But it's just hard. It's hard. I'm imagining that's some of the cause for friction. But either way, obviously the Jets want Klubnik to be QB2. They want him to win that QB2 battle, and we'll see if it happens. But that, I think, going into OTAs, that's probably the thing you're looking at the most is what do the rookies look like? Not even just Klubnik, what does D'Angelo Pons look like now playing against NFL caliber receivers? Can D'Angelo Pons shut down Adonai Mitchell? Obviously there's no pads on, so you're not getting a full experience for this, but Pons as an athlete jumps off the, no pun intended. He just straight up just jumps super high, but he jumps off the screen when you're watching him in Indiana because he's going against college athletes. What does he look like against NFL caliber wide receivers? What does he look like against Garrett Wilson or Adonai Mitchell or, even a Tim Patrick, who's who's so much bigger than D'Angelo Pons? I think that is going to be the thing
against 5'8".
Right. Like, how much is that going to hinder him at the NFL level? You're not going to get all the answers in OTAs, but you're going to get some of them. I think that's really what you're looking at.
Didn't the Jets have a number 2 overall pick that's worth watching too?
David Bailey. It's just hard with Trent.
He's the least OTAs. Talked about top 2 pick since I think
Trayvon Walker went
to the Jaguars.
No one cared about Trayvon
Now,
Walker.
I will say, pretty good pick.
Yeah, a good player.
You want Hutchinson, but he's still good.
Right. I would say good player. Not a good pick because they should have had Hutchinson, and people thought they should have drafted Hutchinson at the time, and he's clearly better. But definitely a good player.
Second contract, pretty reasonable for the market. Good player. Yeah. Team's good now, so
he's a good player. He's
the thing with Bailey too. It's tough too because I don't want to put the expectations of he has to get 13 sacks as a rookie. You don't want to do that. But also, even if he has an Abdul Carter year where he gets a lot of pressures and gets 3 sacks, there's going to be a lot of heat on him. Mm-hmm. Fair or unfair? Partially fair because there is a skill to getting sacks, to finishing plays, to having closing speed. So because of all that, if you can get enough from Bailey, pads or not, to say, I feel confident he's going to get 8 sacks this year. I think that is, if you're above 7, I think you're very happy with that. Myles Garrett had 7 his rookie year, I believe, or 7.5. So if you're in that sort of sphere, then I think you're perfectly fine with what David Bailey's going to do. I just don't want to put the expectations of if you don't get 13 sacks right away, you should have taken Orville Reese.
No, valid. And the reason people aren't talking about OTAs is also just because trench play is very difficult to evaluate in OTAs.
Impossible, some might say.
Yeah, all the spotlights on the quarterbacks and the receivers and the skill players. But anyway, Mike, we have a special guest joining us. We mentioned this at the top of the show. Our good friend Will Parkinson is joining us from Badlands. Of course, he needs no introduction. I'm sure many of you know who this man is. Will, what's going on, my friend? How you doing?
I'm good, man. Good. It's meaningless OTA days, so we're locked into Cade Klubnik stats and overreactions. I'm sure Omar Cooper's going to drop one pass and everyone will freak out about it. So very excited for the overreactions that are going to be following.
As I was saying before, I'm sure NYJ Matt will have a completely accurate list of all the Cade Klubnik completions.
97.4 miles per hour through someone's chest.
We look forward to it every single year. Will, before we even
it gets Dov Kleiman and whatever that other freak
ML football. I don't know.
Oh yeah, per sources.
Yes.
What's the dude? What was it? Sam Block, who's Justin Fields is the problem the entire year when you go 8 of 15 every game.
I don't know if this is a hot take. I dislike Sam Block more than Dov Kleiman because I think people know what Dov is. People know what ML football, they know those accounts, and I feel like Dov especially feels just like a parody of himself at this stage. Sam Block is like an ESPN guy. This is like an actual, people look at him like, oh, this dude works for ESPN. This is a real account.
It'll be like a Tuesday and it'll be
it's just the same format every time of the same phrase repeated 10 times.
The Jets failed Zach Wilson. The 49ers failed Trey Lance.
I feel like my number of impressions is pretty solid. And I'm telling you, the paycheck that you're getting is not worth selling your soul for it. It is. It'll be the Yankees are playing and they win a game and it's Aaron Judge is elite. Pete Alonso is elite. It's Pete Alonso doesn't even play for the Mets. What
right?
What is this? It's unfortunate, but in the world we live in, you get rewarded for tweeting nonsense. So
the Elon bucks are not worth it. They're just not. Before we even jump into OTAs, somebody mentioned in chat. I got to ask you about this. We had a frequent commenter. Brian Sternbach said, and he said he was wondering if you remember this joke. This went over our heads, but he said, "Got to be honest, I haven't forgiven Will for what he did to that kangaroo." Will, do you know what this means? Because I don't.
I think that on a episode of Flight Plan back in the day, Connor Hughes and Zach had an argument of which people that cover the Jets could beat up a kangaroo. And I was suggested as I would be able to beat up a kangaroo. That's not what I believe that was the joke. So, and then it was, if I'm right, I'll be very impressed. It was sent to me a few times, so I'm hoping that's the case. Otherwise, I'm going to sound like a total jackass.
I mean, you almost have to rewatch it just to figure out how you arrive at that point in the course.
I just remember getting sent. There's like, Connor and Zach think you can beat up a kangaroo, and I was like,
thank you, I guess.
I mean, it tracks. Listen, this is SUNY Cortland's finest right here.
Yeah,
right?
like, listen,
Cortland only produces.
I'm not saying I wouldn't beat up a kangaroo. I'm just I don't know how we got to that point.
It's amazing how there's 3 people here, and Marist College somehow has the highest ranking football team of the.
I got it right.
Hey, D3 national champs. All right, man. Listen.
Yeah, listen.
Don't disrespect.
I'll put on the helmet if I have to.
Don't disrespect here, man. Brian said, "Oh my goodness, he remembers." So that's got to be what it was.
Thank God.
All right. So we were talking OTAs. Like it's May. There's not exactly a ton of exciting information and exciting stuff to talk about right now. I know media goes to OTAs tomorrow, so we'll get some quotes and stuff there. But when you're looking at OTAs, we were talking a little bit about like what actually matters, because there's always going to be headlines coming out that it's just like, who cares or whatever, right? What do you look for? What actually matters to you? What are you looking for every year when you get to OTAs? You're like, this is the takeaway that actually is significant.
I would say a couple of things. One, I just think how the young guys interact and how they just look in, with the vets, and what do they look like they belong. And again, a lot of guys could be swimming in playbook water and just the drain of the last 5 months of the draft process. But you want to see guys that look like they belong. Michael Westhoff had a famous clip. I was talking about D. Milner on my pod, and he basically said, like, I saw him in a helmet one time and knew he was horrendous. And you just don't want to have that type of situation happen, right? You want to see, Pons integrate himself well, and Sadiq and Cooper look like they belong. David Bailey just like looks size wise and physique wise, and makes everything kind of looks the part. So I think that's one. I think you want to see some chemistry with some of the receivers and the quarterbacks. I think that's always going to be something you just naturally, if Gino and Garrett are clicking right away, and just again, it's shorts and helmets in May. But if they look like they're on the same page, it's a nice sign that they can go into camp and get maximum reps there. And then I think just obviously it's early scheme stuff for both sides of the football, but they're 2 new coordinators, so you do want to see a little bit of just like, are they lined up more base 3-4? Are they actually more of a 3 down front? Are they more 5 down, more 4 down? Like, what are we going to really what are we going to get? And again, it'll change, but it just from a base perspective, they come out, in base. Like last year, they were a 4 down team in base, and then, they would change. Obviously, they weren't as much of a nickel team last year as they were the year prior. So those are just some things to me. It's like, again, early on in camp as well as early on in OTAs, you just want to see. And again, is there anybody that did Mason Taylor put on 15 pounds and you're like, whoa, he's 260 now, and that's awesome? Or does Breece Hall look like he's 215 in the best shape of his life? And, I don't know if that'll be the case, but generally speaking, those are just some things I think you look for that can matter a little bit more than the average, useless K Klubnik stats.
I don't know about you, Will, but like even taking the Jets fan rose-colored glasses off, like I feel like we've collectively kind of undersold the impact of these big name defensive additions and what a guy like a Minkah Fitzpatrick could be for this defense, about like a Demario Davis can be for this defense, even if he got paid a little more than what most other 37-year-old inside linebackers, of which there are very few, are getting paid. Obviously, I think there's just a leadership tax of you have to pay this to get me in there. I think the Jets are like, of course, we've needed a Demario Davis for I don't know how long. I don't know about you, but I'm just looking at, even if it's non-padded, even though it's OTAs, even though it's this, even though it's that, like I think there's a passive buff, for lack of a better word, that just having a Demario Davis on a very, very young team, or a Minkah Fitzpatrick in a young secondary, is going to have right now. Like to have a guy like Pons learn from a Minkah, to have a Sherwood go back to that sort of number 2 linebacker role where he's the deputy to it was CJ Mosley beforehand, and now it's Demario Davis. If all that clicks, like why can't this team be, I'm not saying they're going to be like the Texans or the Seahawks. Why can't they be kind of in the 17th best defense? Is that crazy?
No, I don't think it's crazy. I think the expectation for me going into the year is, can you remain a top 5 specialist unit? I don't think they're going to be the best unit in the league unless maybe kicker. They do have something in this German kid and stuff like that. That'd be amazing. That's the one thing that's a little dicey is like Nick Folk as well. He could not hit a field goal past, generally 53 yards outside of the Atlanta game. he was extremely accurate, but he missed one kick all year. So there's that part. I think so. Again, maybe can they be a top 5 unit? That's, I would say, hey, can they remain in that top echelon? Defensively, I think, can you be, as you guys mentioned, can you be somewhere between the 14th and 18th best defense that causes turnovers and sacks the quarterback at the end of the day? Like
turnovers, what are those?
Yeah, I know. No,
what? Huh?
That's, they're the 21st.
I've heard tell of them. I don't know what they look like.
They're the 21st best defense, but they force a ton of turnovers and have high variance. Like that's probably okay as well. And then, lastly on offense, can they be somewhere between the 16th and 20th best unit? And if they're somewhere in that range, they're probably between a 7 or 8 win football team. If they're the 23rd defense and the 29th offense, they're going to be very bad. And if they're the 12th offense and the 25th defense, great. You have a great offense and you're probably firing your coach because you're like a 6-win team that needs a better coach. The second two aren't, the last one and the first one aren't bad at all. Those are probably perfectly reasonable and fun options. I think the worst case scenario is they're bad, but not bad enough to actually be in the top 5. But the young guys and most of these players don't look good. I've said this a couple of times, and guys, I really feel this way. Like, well, everyone wants to. There's a lot of people want to tank, and I get it. And and there's other folks that are really optimistic. The one thing that is not acceptable to me is like these guys, especially these high end picks, the last couple of years looking bad. Like we cannot. If the roster, which I think everyone overall would feel is significantly improved, probably from an overall just balance and depth perspective and stuff like that. If the roster looks bad, it can't just be the coaching at that point. Then the GM's probably bad. Yeah. And now we're having a totally different conversation and a repeat of 2 years ago. So no, I don't think the 17th. I think I probably would. 17 is probably the right number defensively. Of like that should be the goal. Anything above that would be amazing, and anything below that would probably be slightly disappointing. And amidst, again, a team that's not great yardage wise, but a little bit more like Dallas a couple of years ago, where they gave up a ton of yards, but they took the ball away at an historically good rate. Like that's even the Bears last year. The yardage wasn't great, but Nashawn Wright, who's obviously now a Jet, 7 interception, things like that, to me are very much the outliers, I would say.
We mentioned this on the show before too. The funniest outcome and the most chaotic outcome is 6-11, 7-10, but just Geno goes crazy.
Yeah, the defense sucks, but Geno is like Seattle Geno again. Like that, objectively the funniest outcome, because then you go into 2027 and you're like, all right, we're probably still going to draft the quarterback, but quarterback was actually not the issue this year.
Yeah,
definitely the funniest outcome.
No, it'd be funny if we leave this year. Yeah, if we leave this year and we're like, Geno has 3 more years left in him,
right? And
we're like, Glenn's terrible, and it's like, what happened here? How did we get here?
It's like David Bailey is super disappointing, but Omar Cooper goes for 900 yards and 7 touchdowns, and you're like, oh, okay, I guess.
Interim coach Frank Reich.
Yeah.
Chris, at least like at that point, just make Banjo the head coach, and
honestly,
if you might have something that actually is be exciting. I think I'm good on Frank Reich, the head coach. Like, seems like an awesome dude, and has been a really good OC in his time, and was a good head coach. Those times were a little while ago. We were like pre-Rodgers on McAfee doing COVID talk.
Right.
I believe Jermaine Kearse was on the Jets when he was a good head coach.
Yeah.
We were like in peak Sanchez hours when Frank was a talented OC, up and coming OC.
Yeah. I want to ask you about something that we've talked about in the show a little bit. The Brendan Sorsby situation is very interesting, and I know it's going to be a big topic of discussion as the next month unfolds, because there's really not a lot going on in the world of football, and this is a potential to be a very big story. It seems like it's trending towards that he will not regain his college eligibility, which has been the expected outcome all along. I did not imagine that the NCAA would let him play again after betting on his own team back at Indiana.
A lot.
Yeah, and betting on Romanian soccer, and he bet on the Nathan's hot dog contest or whatever else he was betting on.
How do you bet on the hot dog? Where are you at in your life?
I hope he
took. How do you have a gambling addiction? The hot dog contest.
I hope he took the over on Joey Chestnut. I don't know, man. I hope he was betting on Joey. But
that seems like I'm a Vegas sharp at that point.
Right. But it's a very fascinating situation. And I want to ask from the Jets' perspective, because first of all, if you're the Jets or any NFL team, you're going to want clarity on the league. If he does declare for the supplemental draft, you're going to want clarity from the league as to what possible repercussions he's facing in the NFL, because the NFL has shown, these are all different. It's case by case example, but with Terrell Pryor, with Ezekiel Elliott, that they will suspend players for things that happen outside the NFL when you are not contracted.
I think Terrell Pryor, he got suspended not for the act. It was like some sort of other, it was like more of a legal thing. That wasn't exactly why he got suspended at Ohio State.
he was selling his own autographs.
Yeah. And then obviously Zeke had a different situation that happened while he was at Ohio State or before he was in the NFL. But the president is there, and I do believe that the NFL will reprimand him in some way, probably in the form of a suspension, because this is just not something that
Calvin Ridley got a year. I don't know.
Right. Well, he did that as an NFL player, but either way, you're going to want some sort of clarity from the league as to what sort of suspension he's facing. Because if he misses the first 8 games of the year, then you're bringing him back in November or whatever. He's not even with the team for that time. Like, you're probably not even really going to get to see him play. So it's a very tricky situation. If you're the Jets, or just in general, like, what do you think the Jets should be doing in this situation? Like, what kind of bid would you place on him, knowing what you know now? And I guess also, what do you think the Jets would do?
I don't think they will. I could be wrong, but I would be surprised if they're involved. They got to get creative, obviously, to find their quarterback, and he's just a talented player, and there's every reason that, like, it's another avenue to try to explore, and they've explored so many other options that, why not take a shot at a different way of finding your quarterback? And I would get that. They've been pretty adamant about the character stuff for under this regime. Like, there's, like, high character matters, and look, I'm not saying that gambling is the same as what we see with Josh Jacobs right now, and we've seen with Tyreek Hill and these other guys. Like, I get it. That said, the league probably takes that even more seriously than they take some of that stuff, which is unfortunate, but it's the reality.
Yep.
And some of these accusations are pretty serious. Like, 10,000 plus micro bets on balls and strikes is not a like small amount of bets. And betting on your own team, and the reasoning being you want to support the boys, is like pretty an egregious wording. And I don't know why that lawyer came up with that as the excuse.
That's exactly what Pete Rose did with the Reds.
Yeah, I just don't know. And like, it's what Shohei Ohtani did with the Dodgers. But in terms of what I would give up, I mean, I would, if you were just in any team, like, I would think this Cardinals and the Steelers and some of these other teams should be involved in the third-round pick, second-round pick range, because that's probably what he would have been, a second-round pick, maybe back in a round 1 guy this year, just based on upside. But to be honest, like, I don't know if the timeline matches up for the Jets. Like, if he's going to be suspended and he's not around the team, then you don't even know if he's any good in practice. Like, it's not even like we're just nurturing him for next year. And if you're going to draft somebody anyways, then it just feels like a waste. Now you could say, hey, there'd be trade value. And again, the Jets would have to know truly, is there an avenue in which he's not suspended? Because if he's not suspended, it's a totally different conversation. I just would be really shocked if he doesn't get suspended, considering what we've seen in the NBA and what we've seen in the NFL. Like, this gambling money that they're in bed with cannot go away. And the last thing you want to do is have an issue with a guy who's a high flight risk of, like, again, it's not he bet on a couple of games. It's like he's, 10,000 plus bets on just balls and strikes alone is, like, pretty egregious. So long story short, I would say, like, if there's an avenue in which he's not suspended for a long time and all the character checks out, and the Jets had a second-round grade on him going into this draft before he didn't declare, then I would say, like, yeah, sure, why don't you put in a third-round pick, claim on him and, get him in the building and see what you can do. If they thought he was a fourth-round prospect before,
right?
Yeah, what are you doing, right? Again, I think there's just other teams, like Arizona should probably put in a second-round tender on him and just be like, him and Carson Beck and whoever is better this year is going to play, and we're going to get a full look at this guy. And if we're bad, we'll get him another chance to start a quarterback. To me, like, little risky, especially if the Jets are better than we think, and they're a 7 or 8 win team. You're going to need that third-round pick to trade up or to acquire, additional capital for your roster. So it's just the timeline to me just is not right. And again, the gambling stuff is really dicey, especially in today's climate.
A veteran Jet fan in chat says nothing wrong with the 2027 quarterback room of Dante Moore, Brendan Sorsby, and Cade Klubnik. The only thing, though, is, like, he says it's worth using at least a 3 on it. He might go for more than a 3, number 1. Number 2,
that's a lot of young quarterbacks to develop at the same time.
Yeah, you'll have used essentially, let's say a 3. That's a third and then a 4th on Klubnik and then a 1st on Dante Moore. Essentially 2 picks in the top 100 in the same draft on quarterbacks, which that's a weird allocation of capital. And, like, sure, I'm just going to go off of history. Has anybody found a franchise quarterback in the supplemental draft? I know explore all avenues, but this is incredible. If he hits and he's like the franchise guy, they might be the first team in decades to have found a franchise quarterback this week.
Maybe that's what they need to break the curse.
Let's say maybe that's probably the biggest argument as to why to do it. Is like they've tried literally every other avenue.
We say this all the time. The Jets have tried every possible roster building strategy of all time over the years. This is the one thing they haven't tried. So maybe
they went Rob Moore in the supplemental draft, right?
They did. Yeah, I believe that was their last supplemental pick, and that was 1990 or whatever it was.
Let's see. I think it was.
The other thing too, though, is like if this were Lenore Sellers or Dante Moore or Arch, then I think it changes differently. Like Sorsby is not this. He's a good prospect. He's not this like can't miss. No matter damn the torpedoes, we got to take him guy. I mean, he's still not great navigating pressure. I mean, the arm is crazy good, but I think he's going to need a little bit of work there. So that's now you're developing him and Klubnik and the other guy. Frank Reich can only do so much. Will Musgrave can only work his magic on so many guys at a time.
It does muddy the waters.
The Rob Moore pick actually worked out well, even though he was better.
That was a 1, I think.
He was
1.
I saw a stat the other day, actually, when I was doing some like Jets stat digging, and Garrett Wilson is one of only 3 receivers in Jets history to lead the team in receiving 4 consecutive years. The other 2 are Don Maynard and Rob Moore. No one else has done it more than 4 times in a row.
Wesley Walker never did
Wesley Walker did it 3 years in a row. And then I think there was somebody else that did it 1 year, and then he did it 3 more years in a row after that. But he never did it. Altoon never did it. Injuries with Altoon. I thought that was interesting. I know Garrett Wilson, good chance he becomes the first player in Jets history to lead.
I certainly hope so. That would be a
I mean, it's crazy too, because it'll survive based on the fact that he had 395 yards last year, and that still led the team in receiving, which is unbelievable.
That's worse to me than no interceptions. I was telling Justin this on another show. Like certain guys can get that in 3 games.
Yeah, Garrett's had that in 3 games.
Yeah.
2. It's it was last year wasn't pretty, to say the least.
No, it was not.
Where are you at right now before we get on to kind of our final segment here that we want to do? Where are you at right now on David Bailey? We've kind of established that 7.5, that seems to be kind of where we're at sack-wise, because you don't want to say you have to get 13 in year 1, otherwise you're a bust. And that very rarely happens where a guy, even if you're picked high, gets like 13 sacks as a rookie in year 1, especially when there's no dominant other guy. It's Will McDonald who's good, but he's Will McDonald. But also, even if he has the Abdul Carter year where he is getting pressures and impacting the game, but he has like 3.5 sacks, like there are going to be people out there like, I don't know, Reese was there. Like he's not going to escape it. What is this? I say, wow. What does a successful rookie season for David Bailey look like in your eyes?
So it's a little tough, right? Because I think we can do the pressure versus sack argument. I think there's, Abdul Carter went through that last year. I think if you found him between 6 and 9 sacks, you'd feel really good, right? If it's a really nice high pressure 6-sack season where he looks the part and it's like, hey, 1 more year, he's going to take off. You obviously would like to see more than that, but that kind of feels like the floor. Like if he's like a 3-sack, even Will McDonald's rookie year, like that's not going to cut it. Again, it doesn't mean he's a bust. It just would be really disappointing. When Will McDonald was, again, a guy who was a 4th pass rusher year 1. If he has 7.5, that number feels good. In some ways, you almost expect him to have more, only from the aspect you expect him to be in a better game script where he can thrive. That said, the NFL is really hard, and edge rusher is a really difficult position, and most of these guys take a couple of years to get going. I think that number makes sense. Somewhere 6, 7, 8 sacks, some good pressure rates, maybe makes a couple forced fumbles in there where you feel really good about like, hey, 1 more year of development in the NFL locker room, NFL offseason. This guy can now go to 12 sacks, and you feel really good about that.
Yeah, a couple of comments before we get to our final section here. Steve said I like 8 sacks for Bailey in year 1. Yeah, I mean if that you're thrilled if he's getting 8 sacks in year 1. I think that's a really good rookie year for him,
especially because they're going to play recent linebacker, so there's not going to be very much like an apples to apples comparison with those two. I think they kind of lucked out there
for sure.
Yeah, Reese thing was I thought they should have taken Reese at the time, and I get it. I think that there was some stuff that would have been better for the Jets in terms of you would have felt really good about their linebackers and different things like that, but you would have felt way worse about the edge room. So now it's you would have had to take another linebacker later in the draft. So end of the day, we'll see. like, well, other teams passed on Reese as well, and that, and we'll see if they end up, being right or wrong.
Robert Saleh could have 20 edge rushers on his team if you let him, and he had Arvell Reese right there.
I think he would have taken Bailey if he was there.
For sure.
Yeah, but we'll never know because the Jets took him too.
And he also 1,000%, if he didn't retire, would have tried to trade for Bryce Huff.
Yeah.
Get the band back together.
There's some rumors Bryce Huff's getting into MMA, so
I feel like that tracks.
Why?
I feel like that tracks. Just knowing him, that makes sense.
I'm starting the rumor, so that's.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
dude. Listen, I believed it. I was totally gonna be like, "Yo, you hear Bryce Huff's getting an MMA?"
What's he doing? Making car batteries or something? It was some weird.
It seems like a cool thing.
Batteries to explode, man. You can't have them explode.
Yeah, it's a safety. It's a safety hazard. Real quick, veteran Jet fan said Hugh Douglas got 10 sacks at defensive rookie of the year and a 3-win team. Bailey reminds me of Douglas. Douglas before my time. I think Douglas was bigger than Bailey.
He was. He also came from. You'll never see this again. He came from an NAIA school and got picked 14ed overall. I think,
wild.
Which is
that is.
He just completely obliterated the Senior Bowl, and the Jets were like, "Whoa!"
Yeah.
Took him high and ended up becoming a better Eagle than a Jet, but you still like that pick.
One last comment before we get to our final section here. It was a good comment from Brian, so I wanted to include it here. He said, suppose the Jets defy expectations and start the season 3-3, leading the AFC East via tiebreaker. That'd be crazy. Over the also 3-3 Patriots and Bills. I love this scenario, Brian.
Oh my God. Yeah. No matter what happens the rest of the year, the fact that they at least got to that point. Oh my God.
Right. How and who would you target it? So I guess, how did that happen? And who would you target at the trade deadline? It's a lot of variables. Obviously, first of all, we don't know how they got to 3-3, and also crazy that the Bills and Patriots are also 3-3. What a start for the AFC.
We can only hope.
I mean, I don't know. It depends what injuries you have. It depends what roster spots are weak at that point. Depends how you feel. Maybe Azaria Thomas is struggling and Deshaun Wright is struggling, and you got Pons in the nickel, and you're like, we need another outside corner. Let's try and target one there. Or maybe you have a receiver injury, and you're like, Tim Patrick is our wide receiver 3, not great. Maybe let's add another wide receiver.
Just say forget Enagbari and Osai, and then you just make a pass rusher addition, and then you have Will McDonald, Bailey, and
or one linebacker injury. You're starting Michael Walker or Marcelino McCrary Ball, so you could certainly use some depth there. They might add a player before the season.
Just leave Akiko Mawagoa just die or something. What?
I mean, for all intents and purposes,
you're gonna stay healthy for more than 2 quarters, another concussion or shoulder.
Right.
He's gonna be rooming with his brother on the Giants.
I heard he was picking up MMA as well. That's what I heard.
That's what he should do. He should get the Giants playbook, take a picture of it, and then just
the old McCole Hardman. No, I think at that point you're probably targeting some type of young controllable asset that you feel like can just be a depth piece for you, or similar to what they did with Briggs, and and maybe it's a Phillips type addition you think can be here 2 or 3 years. The Jets need to be very realistic about where they're at and not over, for lack of a better term, not blow it too early, because we've seen so many teams in the past try to go all in when they're not ready, and then they're kind of left picking up the pieces.
Colts.
I feel like the Jets should be a team that almost is this year is all luxury at that point, and then continuing to, again, if there's a linebacker that they feel like is, hey, we have this, there's a 25-year-old that's going to be a restricted free agent next year. We have the cap space. We think if we get him in here for 8 weeks, we'd feel confident paying him, or something like that. But yeah, they should not be in the 32-year-old receiver market that's unhappy and wants to only come play with his best friend. That's probably not the market to be in.
For sure. Yeah. If they're making a trade, it's
not before, but just saying.
Right. If they're making a trade, it's a Jarvis Brownlee type. That's what you're looking at. Well, you got an extra 5-10 minutes for our final segment here. I know I said a half.
Yeah, I got you. I got 5 left to go.
Sweet. Let's do it. All right. So we've done this a couple of times on the show already. We made this in the shorts as well. We're all familiar with the concept of immaculate grid. We've made some Jets immaculate grids, or at least we got one right here. And I want to run this one. And we're actually going to be able to fill it in the podcast, which we were not able to do live last time. Is this the best way to format this, or is?
I think it is.
We'll keep it like this, and we'll just move the faces around for that. So, standard immaculate grid rules. Just to clarify a couple things here. So, drafted by the Jets. Obviously, they had to be drafted by the Jets. Specialist is kicker, long snapper, punt return, or punter. We're not going to count returners here. Junior, senior, and then the third. Any kind of suffix in your name. So, Will McDonald IV also works for that. NFC East, they had to have played in the NFC East, but also, of course, they had to have played with the Jets. So all of this is, of course, with the caveat of play with the Jets.
Ooh.
And then the Aaron Glenn column is played under Aaron Glenn as
SV played with him or under him?
Under him.
So
as Aaron Glenn, the head coach, not Aaron Glenn, the player. Mike, you have not. I put this together, so Mike, you have not filled this out. You can also contribute as well, but I definitely want to see what Will takes.
Drafted by the Jets, NFC East, and then had to have been drafted by Aaron Glenn. I mean, played under Aaron Glenn. Those are those three columns. All right, let's go. I'm gonna start off. I can just anybody drafted by the Jets that has one passing touchdown.
Yeah, anyone.
Okay, we'll go Brooks Bollinger here.
All right, I love it. See, Mike, you weren't playing it like this before. You were going like Don Maynard and shit. I was like,
well, because I want at least you got to start off with like one or two easy ones, and then you.
All right,
you don't want to blow it on your first guess here.
I don't think Brooks Bollinger would apply to any of these other categories, so that's okay.
So NFC East one passing touchdown. It's gonna be an extremely random one, but we're gonna go Geno Smith. Did Geno have his touchdown with the Giants?
He played for them. I don't know.
He did, I think, because he had that one start where
one start. I want to
Eli
see
got benched.
Let's look. I'll check right now if he got a touchdown. With
that was that was what got Ben McAdoo fired.
He did have one touchdown. Let's go.
There you go. Wow, see, we don't have percentages here, but that's probably like a 1%.
That's got to be a very low percentage. One passing touchdown that played for Aaron Glenn.
He also would have worked for Junior Senior because he is Eugene Cyril Smith III.
That's right. That's right.
Let's go Junior Senior. All right. So then this has to be played for Glenn, right? As the head coach.
Yeah, Glenn is a head coach.
I mean, we just go Brady Cook. I feel like that's a
passing touchdowns. Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
absolutely. Did he have 2 last year? Right.
Yeah, I could have gone Brees. I guess. Actually, let's go. No,
who were the? Was it Ruckert and Mechie were the 2 that he threw it to? Or?
Yeah, he threw. I think so. He had the one in Jacksonville, and then the one.
All the tweets after that. Did they find somebody? Oh my god! And then
disgusting.
Then they gave up like 80 points to the Jaguars.
Drafted by the Jets, Junior Senior third.
There's a few of them.
Actually, let's go. I don't want to go. Should we say specialist? It can be punter, kicker, returner.
We'll say long snap. We'll say not returner because like Justin Miller is a corner in theory.
Yeah.
You know.
Let's kick Mike Nugent for kicker. I feel like is a good
2nd round pick. Mike Nugent.
Pretty good career, all things considered.
Yeah, just not with the Jets. NFC specialist.
There's a couple. There's one obvious one that comes to mind immediately for me.
I'm trying to think of one that's a very.
There's one. I do have a not so obvious one. That's also.
I'll leave that one for the end because I want to come up with this bizarre. Actually, you know what? John Hall. John Hall was
John Hall. Yeah.
He could have gone somehow like. My dogs come up here. Aaron Glenn specialist.
My obscure one for NFC East specialist would have been Austin Seibert.
Ooh, that's
who played one game with the Jets.
It counts.
And then went to the Commanders, of course.
That is not a bad one. Glenn specialist. I don't know. Do we just go Folk? I feel like we feel there's not really many.
Honestly, Folk's good because a lot of people would probably put Folk for NFC East specialist.
Yeah.
So if we were doing this like real immaculate grid, I feel like he'd get fewer answers for this one.
I don't want to do Jarvis Brownlee. Let's go John Mechie for the played under Glenn with the third because I feel like he's like infamously John Mechie the third.
Yeah. Sure. That I guess could also sort of work for NFC East, right? Because he signed with the Eagles. He hasn't played there yet, but
drafted by the Jets Junior Senior. There's got to be a good one in here.
Let me see. What do I got? There's a forgotten senior that's in there.
There is.
Yeah, there's a forgotten senior in there that he wasn't senior with the Jets, and maybe it was his last year with the Jets. He like switched to like being senior now, but I believe he has senior on his jersey at this stage.
All right.
There's a few juniors, obviously, including a couple that, of course, they just drafted this year. But
yeah, I don't want to go Mark Cooper. That's pretty boring. Mm-hmm. Junior in the NFC East or senior? Dak Prescott is senior, is he not? I believe he.
But they had to have played for the Jets.
Yeah. Okay, that's why.
Yep.
No, this is going to be bad. Jarvis Brownlee could go under Glenn. I already did Mechie, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you already did Mechie.
You did Mechie.
There's 2 I could think of that work for
drafted by the Jets. Is definitely Big Fat Mackay.
Yeah.
See this? I'm glad, or I don't know if I'm glad you said that, but Mike,
there's a running joke of jokes made about donuts or Twinkies or weight or breaking scales when Mekhi Becton is mentioned on this show.
Yeah, that's Mike. Mike loves pointing it out. Becton would have also worked for NFC East because Eagles.
Michael Carter's not a junior. Is the other Michael Carter?
Well, I mean, he's the second. So that counts as a suffix.
All right, so let's do Michael Carter.
Yeah, that counts.
And there we go.
Oops.
I feel my percentages would have been pretty decent.
John Hall would have been one of those like 0.4.
Yeah.
Everybody would have done full.
I feel like Gino is my best one.
Gino's a really good poll.
He literally had one touchdown as a Giant in the NFC.
I would have I probably Fitz maybe the highest for that one. That'd be my
Sanchez too with the Eagles.
Sanchez,
and the Redskins, by the way, at the end.
And the Cowboys,
Yes. Yeah, he did the whole
he was never mind, that's a tasteless joke. So he's a fiend for NFC East teams, similar to
I know what you're gonna say. Tim Boyle didn't throw a touchdown with the Giants, right? But he did play with them.
He did.
I don't think he threw a touchdown.
If it's Tim Boyle, assume he didn't throw a touchdown.
Yeah. Oh, he did. He did throw a touchdown. That's crazy. He had 12 completions. One of them was a touchdown. So Tim Boyle also would have worked for NFC East passing touchdown.
If we did returners, I was going to try to think of a better for specialist, but we really only have drafted by the Jets. There's not a ton of kickers.
Yeah. The other, I mean, you could like Braden Mann, Lachlan Edwards, Nugent.
Who was the Australian dude? Ben something.
Oh, Ben Graham.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Ben Graham also could work for that.
Multiple Aussie punters to pick from.
That's right.
Jets love themselves an international punter the last 2 years.
They get a kicker with this Lenny guy.
Oh, yeah. The German legend.
Yeah.
And Corey Vedvik, who had the worst game in history.
He was Norwegian, I believe, Corey Vedvik.
Yep. And then he had missed every single kick and then never did anything ever again.
I know he was terrible.
Oh, he's awful.
He's one of the worst kickers I've ever watched in my 2
lives. He literally didn't make a kick. I think he missed an extra point and a field goal, and that was it. I'm pretty
sure.
In
a 1-point game.
Yes. Yes.
That's when it all died. The Darnold era ended 18 games in.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, it did. This is what May's for, man. Reminiscing about Corey Vedvik and Lachlan Edwards.
Where else are you going to hear that, I ask you, on your Cross Jets podcast?
John Hall's Redskins tenure.
I was not thinking of that one at all. Like when you said John Hall, I was like, oh man, that the name didn't even pop into my head. I'm better with like the guys who played in the 2010s. Yeah. Like I know John Hall. Like I know he was a kicker for the Jets, but I couldn't tell you much about him. But if you ask me about,
he wore his helmet like literally like this, and it was
the great Gazoo helmet.
That's like that Aaron Rodgers Photoshop Bleacher Report graphic that they posted.
He almost like slip every time he'd kick, and like it would like be a wobbler that would go straight. It was very weird.
Right. See, I'll forget the John Halls, but if you ask me about like Caleb Schlauder or Matt Kroll, who are like practice squatters for the Jets. West Saxton. Where did he go? South Alabama? Did he go West Saxton, I think?
That is a deep pull.
There you go. Braden Bowman. Pull out all the old tight ends.
We are now getting into territory where I feel like I'm seeing triple.
Josh Baker. Dude, Josh Baker was my dude back in like 2014. That was my guy.
Yeah.
You and exactly no other people. Yeah. Maybe Josh Baker's mom. I don't know.
And he got hurt in the preseason. I was bummed.
I will leave you guys.
Imagine that ruining your mood that Josh Baker got hurt in the preseason.
We'll let you go, Will, but it bummed me. Like 16-year-old me, it bummed me out. I was so mad.
I will say this. I was looking today. Go and look at the difference in. I love Lavernius Coles, and this is not a shot at Lavernius at all. What a horrendous trade for Santana Moss. Like to move off of Moss to get Coles back.
Oh yeah.
Coles is a really solid player and a good player. Santana Moss like 2x'd him in catches, yards, and like 4x'd him in touchdowns in the same tenure after the trade.
With no quarterbacks.
Yeah, it was just like Santana became like such a polished receiver and not just like this like speedy deep threat. And Lavernius was fine. He was a solid player for like 4 years, but like, man, there was a couple of those that they just Connor and Joe went down the rabbit hole last night of no Peyton, then trading back twice, passing on Orlando Pace, Walter Jones to take James Ferrier. They got back in that deal. They traded back from 1 to 6 and got a third and a fourth. What is Bill Parcells doing?
And you know what? Ferrier's a great player, but
not with the Jets. Not with the Jets.
The next year, their draft they had no picks. They took Randy Thomas.
Sure.
And then the year after, again, no picks. 2000 was obviously amazing.
Yep.
2001, or it's either 01 or 2002, they did the classic, took Brian Thomas awesomely, really fun, solid Jet. Then one pick later. No, that year they took someone in 01. I'm now blanking on. I don't know why my brain.
Shit, hold on.
2001.
Was that the infamous what do you call it? What's his name? The D line. Oh no, that was St. Moss. Oh, Lamont Jordan.
2001, and then the next pick was Steve Hutchinson.
I was thinking Dwayne Robertson was.
And the following year, unfortunately, and Brian Thomas, no shade, played 12 years with the Jets. He's the second most playoff wins in team history.
Yeah.
Ed Reed going one pick later. There's another world where they have Warren Sapp, Ed Reed, Peyton, Orlando Pace.
Instead, Kyle Brady.
Also Reggie Wayne too, by the way.
So, and those weren't even in that draft this guy happened. It was the next pick, and it was God damn it.
That's what they do.
For the second round that year, by the way, Drew Brees.
Yeah.
It's what they do, man. 2020, Becton over Tristan Wirfs. It's what they do.
Now we're just.
Oh! Imagine if Drew Brees was on the Jets and he had the rotator cuff thing, and then he went to the.
He's been through that debacle before, unfortunately.
Because he almost went to the Dolphins too.
Yeah, he failed the physical.
And then he would have passed and gone to the Dolphins and succeeded Marino, and then
wild, man. Wild. All right, Will, much appreciated, my friend. Thank you for finally coming on the show. We're trying to do some more. Yeah, we're trying to do some more collabing in the Jet space. So good.
Do what you got to do. My dog's very appreciative.
I love it.
Oh, we got more animals because Justin's got his cats.
I usually have my cats joining us.
He's very happy to join.
One of my cats was
John Hall got excited.
Before he got on, his cat was hacking up all over the floor. So
you gotta do what you gotta do.
He's doing all right now. But yeah, I mean, you people in chat probably know you, but where can they find you, Will?
Yeah, Badlands TOJ, Turn on the Jets podcast, Badlands Will PA 11 on socials. Have a pod coming out right after this. So if you want to hear more, feel free to tune in. Have a bunch of good guests coming up, which I'm excited about. So should be awesome. But yeah, appreciate you guys having me on. And Cortland's better than Marist. If anyone's questioning that, please don't.
Thank you for finding us.
It sounds like D3 talking to 1AA.
National champs talking to who's Jason Myers?
Jason Myers, Super Bowl champ.
Before, okay.
Terrence Fede from the Dolphins.
Right, you're talking to you played FCS. You were Towson.
Yeah, I played FCS. I mean,
Towson.
Yeah. We were national champ runner ups. We did the proverbial nice to be there. Unfortunately, did not get the job done.
I respect the CAA 10 times more than the Pioneer Conference, which is the worst conference. It's got Marist, San Diego, Campbell, Jacksonville.
What is that? What a mess.
It's just all over.
Marist was my first D1 offer in high school, and I went up for a visit, and it was a 4 foot of snowstorm, and they were like, "You need to commit today." I'm not doing that.
That's classic Jim Parody, man.
Only if you to end up at Cortland, where there's 3 feet of snow.
Hey, this time I met my wife, and I got to have the same dorm room as Calvin Pryor. So they'll always
be
that.
My number 2 school was Ithaca, by the way, so I thought you should know that.
Oh, my
God,
disgusting
institution.
Awful.
Only losers would ever go to Ithaca.
That's what I'm saying.
I got the Rod Serling Memorial Scholarship there, and I still turned him down.
Ithaca was a safety school, not because of education.
This is why we got to have Will on the pod more.
Yeah, a little bit.
More Portland glazing. All right,
I wasn't getting into Cornell, so if I wanted to go in that town,
I know. I'm just.
All righty, Will. Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you
guys.
Take care.
And with that, we're going to call time on this episode of the Jet Press podcast.
Hold up. That's so crazy. The Jets just announced that they've signed a player named Cortland Ford. I'm not even kidding. That's actually wild.
Are you serious?
That's incredible. That's so funny.
So I'll let the Cortland guy sign us off.
They've released Kendrick Blackshear, who was the UTSA linebacker they signed undrafted.
Kendrick? I had the wrong Blackshear. I thought it was Raheem Blackshear.
No, he was with the Jets last year, though, Raheem Blackshear. Very briefly.
Multiple Blackshears.
Yeah, different spelling, though. Different spelling.
What do you mean different? What?
Yeah, this one is BLACKSHIRE. The other one was
like Blackshire. Okay.
Yeah, the other one was SHEAR. Is Raheem.
All right. So one had the correct way and one had the wrong way.
Yes, that was fun. Good Cortland talk. Good immaculate grid stuff. We'll be back next week, and we're gonna have another guest next week. Yeah, we're supposed to have Connor Long on the show. We'll see if he's able to make it. Hopefully, he is. I can.
We should just tease people like that. Like, hey, I think Sam Darnold's going to be on.
I think we Adam Schefter on the show next week. Actually,
hey, we said he might be on. Like,
you got to manifest it. You got to manifest it. That's how
we didn't guarantee anything.
But yeah. Any final thoughts on Jets OTAs or anything like that before we?
Yeah, that was really fun with Will, and you'll see a couple more collabs before the summer is over.
Absolutely. Thank you all for joining us on the show today. You can follow Mike on Twitter at Mike Luciano. Follow me on Twitter, Justin T. Free. Follow the Jet Press and Jet Press. Download the Jet Press podcast wherever you get your podcast. Check us out on YouTube and TikTok. Subscribe, like, hit that notification bell, all that stuff. Become a member today. It is great stuff. Subscribe, all that stuff, whatever. I forgot where I was. Well, we stream live every Wednesday at 3 p.m. Eastern time. Sorry, my script that I normally read, I've moved it to my laptop, and I don't need to read it anymore because I have it memorized. But I always
apparently you do.
Anyway. I got messed up in my head because I was looking over. I'm like, why am I looking over? I already know this. We stream live every Wednesday at 3 p.m. Eastern time. Thank you all for listening to Jet Press Podcast. I've been Justin Freed. That is Mike Luciano. See you guys next time.
Justin's gonna go clean up his after his sick cat after we end the stream.
Yeah, I need to.